Hello and welcome to video number 6 of the series Introduction to Google AdWords. In this final part, you will learn what you can do in order to improve the performance of your Google AdWords campaigns. My name is Philipp Zekurik from SEMgermany.com in Berlin, and here's the overview of the topics we are going to cover in this video. First, we will break down into parts the major settings that affect your budget so you know what options you have to control it and adjust if necessary. We will also talk about your landing page experience, which of course also plays a vital role in your campaign, and finally have a look at the most important numbers and tools that allow you to measure and improve your results. So let's start with how to control your budget. Basically, there are two settings that determine your ad spendings. Number one is you can set your daily budget. That is how much money you want to spend as an average maximum per day on a single campaign. Number two is you can set your maximum cost per click, or in case you run your ads on the display network, also your maximum CPM bids. But there is another third factor that also has an important effect on your ad spendings, one that actually is being underestimated very often, and that is the quality score of your keywords. But we will come back to that in just a moment. When you set your daily budget, keep in mind that you do that on the campaign level, so you can set your budget separately for each individual campaign. And you should always do that according to your strategic goals, business objectives, and financial resources. What I mean by that is, unless by coincidence you're one of the businesses that only has one product and a small target customer audience in a very small niche, you might probably have different kinds of products or services, and you might already know that one segment of your business contributes stronger to the overall outcome and to your business success than another one does. So you also might want to spend more of your ad budget for the strategically more important products and maybe less for the not so important ones. And Google AdWords lets you do that. There is no such thing as a high entry barrier as there is for many advertising channels of traditional media, TV ads for instance, that require you to have a high advertising budget to begin with. Instead, you can decide to start with $100 or euros or whatever currency you're using for one campaign and 1,000 or 10,000 for another campaign, depending on what you consider to have the most potential. And of course, this decision also depends on the financial resources you have. So don't just let your gut instinct decide what's appropriate. Keep in mind for yourself that of course your campaign also could fail. So make a calculation how much it would be okay for you to lose and where you would still be comfortable if the worst case scenario happens and your campaign doesn't bring in any sales, leads or phone calls. And then later when you notice that one campaign generates revenue and might need more or less budget, then you can always come back to your campaign settings and make the right adjustments. The next area where Google lets you take full control over your spendings is your bid settings. Remember what you set here as your maximum cost per click, or CPC, is the maximum amount you're willing to spend for each click. Or in case you're advertising on the display network and shows CPM bidding instead, it's the maximum amount you're willing to spend per 1,000 impressions. Understanding this concept is crucial if you want to run a successful campaign, because your return on investment will be highly influenced by your bid settings. Let's say, for example, you're selling a product that without ad spendings earns you a revenue of $70 per sale. Now, if you have an average cost per click of 50 cents and see one sale out of every 100 visitors on your website in average, that's a conversion rate of 1%, then you would have to spend $50 in average to generate one sale. That's your cost per acquisition, and have a net profit or return on investment of $20 at the bottom line. Or simply speaking, that means increase your cost per click and your profit shrinks, or lower your cost per click and your profit will be higher. Unfortunately though, you cannot go too low with your CPC or CPM bid, because depending on the bid settings of your competitors and what's profitable for them, it can happen that your maximum bid is set too low and then your ad never shows up for your desired keyword, so you won't get any results at all. On the other hand, if you find yourself in a very competitive market space and in order for you to generate conversions, your biddings need to be higher than what you can actually afford, then your whole campaign may become unprofitable. So that's why next to your bid settings, you should also pay close attention to your quality score. The quality score is being assigned to each one of your keywords by Google and reflects how well your keywords match to your ads and landing page. That means if you want to improve your quality score, you need to make sure that all of your ads and landing pages are as relevant to your keywords as possible. Keep in mind, Google wants to show its users the most relevant results only and supports that by giving you an advantage over your competitors running less relevant ads or with less quality websites. Generally speaking, that means the higher your keyword quality score, the less you will have to spend for a click on your ad at the same position. So investing some time and effort into improving your quality score can really pay off eventually because it makes your campaign more profitable, and sometimes even it can be the deciding factor that turns an unprofitable campaign into a profitable one. Your keyword quality score, in fact, is not only being affected by the relevance of your ad copy to your keywords, but also by your click-through rate and your landing page experience. If you have watched the last video about how to write effective text ads for the Google AdWords search network, you should already have a pretty good understanding how to make your ad copy relevant to your keywords. For example, that you should include them into your title and description, etc., so that your ads become compelling and interesting and potential customers want to click on them. So in this video, we will concentrate on your landing page experience. What happens on your website after someone clicked on your link, and how can you improve this experience? And sometimes advertisers tend to forget about this important question because when it comes to Google AdWords, they only think of what's happening on Google's side of the process. What do their ads look like? How many clicks do they get? And so on. But of course, now since you put so much effort into winning a potential customer clicking on your ad, you want to show this person the best website you ever can. And first of all, that means that your landing page provides relevant and useful content. What is relevant and useful content? Keep in mind your visitors came to your website because he or she was searching for something very specific. So you want to show your visitors a result according to what they were searching for. For example, if you have an online shop where you sell clothing and someone was searching for shirts, don't send this visitor to your homepage where you promote all kinds of clothes, from shoes over to trousers and jackets and so on. Instead, send this person directly to the subcategory of your website where you sell shirts, because this is what's relevant to that user at that moment. In the best situation, your users arrive on a landing page that perfectly resonates with them because it matches their interest and possibly also has the keyword they were just searching for even in the title. That's relevance. Usefulness means that your content enables your user to take action or make an informed decision. Of course, what you want to do is to sell a product or service of your business. So the goal is not to send the user to a purely educational piece of content. Most probably it will be a product page or something like that. But even here, you can do a lot in order to answer a number of questions a potential customer might have. For instance, someone looking for your product page might have questions like, is this product actually for people like me? What are the benefits when I buy it? Do I need any special skills or tools, or do I need to buy any additional products with it so I can use it? How long do I have to wait for the delivery, and so on? And you could provide answers to these questions on your landing page, not only by writing a good product description, but also, for example, by including an FAQ section, testimonials, shipping and payment details, information about guarantees, etc. Also, you should provide some information about yourself, about your business, who you are. So you should be transparent and show that you are a real and trustworthy company. That means you should make your contact information easy to find and have a disclaimer on your website explaining what happens when users give away their personal information, that you won't send them any spam when they enter their email addresses and so forth. Also, take care of a good usability. Make sure your page is easy to navigate. Imagine a user coming to your website who wants to purchase your product but simply can't find the right button. Actually, that should be a no-brainer, but I've seen landing pages where that happened. So you want to make sure that this is not the case for your website. And also pay attention to loading time. Speed is important. Nobody wants to wait forever until the page has finally loaded, even when using a mobile phone today. So make sure all your images are optimized and that there isn't any extra code on your website that's not absolutely necessary. And yes, if you take into account these 4 relatively simple guidelines to improve your landing page experience, you will not only see a positive effect on the quality score Google assigns to your keywords, but also how your visitors resonate with your website, and that again will have a positive impact on your conversion rate and overall campaign performance. So the next question would be, how do you measure this performance so you can improve results. You probably know this sentence, you can only improve what you track and measure, so here are the most important numbers you should keep an eye on. First, the easiest one, of course, you want to monitor the total number of clicks your campaign is getting. But I don't want you to just stop here, because this number alone doesn't tell you anything about performance. When you look at your clicks, you should always compare that number also to the number of impressions your ad was getting. That means how many times did your ad show up? And the ratio of these two metrics, all clicks divided by all impressions, which is called the click-through rate. Now this number actually provides insight and can tell you something about performance, because what does 100 clicks for itself alone mean? It simply means that people clicked on your website 100 times. But 100 clicks on 10 million impressions show that only an extremely small percentage of 0.001 people who saw your ad were actually interested, or at least interested enough to click on it. On the other hand, 100 clicks on 1000 impressions show that your ad must be really compelling, because 1 out of 10 people who saw it showed interest. So if you notice a low click-through rate, it can be a signal that you should change something about your ad copy, or that your keywords aren't relevant enough to your ads. The next two metrics, your average cost per click and the quality score, here we've already talked about the significance and how your campaign performance is being affected by both the CPC and the quality score, so you should check on these two factors on a regular basis. Also, because they determine your average position, how high or low your ads are ranking. The rule of thumb is the higher you set your CPC bid and the higher your quality score for that keyword is, the higher your average position will be. And of course, the ads on position number 1 usually have the highest click-through rates and get the most traffic, simply because it's the first thing a user sees when typing a keyword into the search bar. But sometimes you don't really need to be in that pole position to get the best results, and being on a lower and therefore cheaper position still brings you good customers. So what you should do is you should observe each one of your keywords over time, figure out on what average position it adds best to your campaign performance, and then try to keep it on that position. The next one is one of my favorite metrics, the bounce rate, because you just need to give it a short glance and it already can tell you so much what's going on your website. The bounce rate is the percentage of people who came to your website and left right away without interacting with it. And here once again you see why just looking at the total number of clicks doesn't provide any meaningful insight, because maybe you know, okay, you got 100 clicks, but now you look at your bounce rate and realize that it's 99%. That means 99 out of 100 people who clicked on your website didn't show any further interest and left to go elsewhere. So a low bounce rate is a signal that you did a good job selecting the right keywords that attract the right audience to your website and that your visitors resonate with your content. On the other hand, a high bounce rate can be a sign that you either have the wrong keywords in your keyword portfolio, or that there is some issue with your landing page, or simply that people don't like your product. So if you're in a stage where you're just testing the market, the bounce rate can also be an interesting metric for you to find out if you have a good product market fit. The bounce rate also goes hand in hand with time on site. That's how long your visitors stayed on your website on average. If they started interacting with it, you can see how much time they actually spent on your website. So maybe you feel happy now because you have a very low bounce rate, but now you look at time on site and realize it's just around 10 seconds or some really short period of time. And that means your visitors maybe just scanned your website very quickly, clicked here and there, but then decided it's not what they were searching for and then left. It's still better though than people bouncing off immediately, because at least there must have been something on your website during the first few seconds that started their interest, but usually if time on site is low, it's not a good sign. Of course you want your visitors to interact with your content, and if it's not the case, it can be for similar reasons as the ones causing a high bounce rate. And finally, conversions, whatever you defined here as a desired action at the end of the process, whether that may be a sale or someone filling out a contact form or giving you a phone call, this number is probably the most important one for your business, as well as the actual cost per acquisition, which is the budget you spent divided by the number of conversions. It's the result of your campaign, the result your campaign produced at the bottom line, But again, if you want to draw real conclusions from it that enable you to improve your results, what you should also take into consideration is your conversion rate percentage, which is the ratio of your conversions to your total number of clicks. For example, if you generate one sale out of 100 clicks, that's a conversion rate of 1%. Now, if you put some effort into improving this percentage, for instance by improving your landing page experience, and you increased your conversion rate to, let's say, 3%, meaning now you generate 3 sales out of 100 clicks, then guess what? You just tripled your revenue without having to spend an extra dime on more clicks, and this way made your whole campaign a lot more profitable. What I want you to understand by explaining these numbers is this. Many businesses make the same mistake that they just look at how much money they spend, how many clicks they got, and how many conversions they received. And when they're not immediately happy with the result, they say, aha, Google AdWords is not working for us. But if you learn how to read these performance indicators and how they are linked to each other, you will be able to take the right decisions to improve your campaign performance. So where do you find these numbers? Some of them you will find directly in the Google AdWords backend. For some other metrics, you need to set up a tracking tool such as Google Analytics or another third-party tracking tool. I usually recommend Google Analytics because it's free and you can easily link both accounts to one another, so you can analyze your Google AdWords data directly in Analytics. In order to measure your conversions, you should have conversion tracking set up. That's something I highly recommend. If you don't know how that works, please ask your developer to take care of it. You can use the Google AdWords tracking code, or even better, if you are already using Google Analytics, you don't need any extra code. Then you define your goals in Analytics and can import them into your AdWords account. Sounds a little bit more complicated, but it's actually not that hard and you will get much more detailed and better statistics. That's what I recommend anyone to do as best practices. There are also some more advanced practices I want to point out to. One of them is A/B testing. If you have the resources, you should absolutely do it. That is when you take one version of your landing page and test it against another version with a small iteration, for example, a different button color or a different headline or different product image, and then see which one generates more profit. By the way, you can not only test your landing pages, but also your ads. If you have more than one ad in an ad group, you can use the same process to find out which ad has the better click-through rate. If you want to dig deeper into the matter of your performance indicators, then you can make use of data segmentation. For example, you could analyze what devices customers with the highest conversion rates are using, what time they're coming or from which location. And as a bonus, you can track your phone leads. That's very often a challenge, especially when you're advertising on different channels and your customers call you, then it's hard to make the connection which channel was actually responsible for these leads. But there are some service providers that allow you to do just that. So if you get a significant number of phone calls and want to know, are they coming from Google AdWords or organic search or social media, it's definitely an option you should also consider. Yes, thank you so much for watching this video tutorial. I'd like to hear from you. If you have any questions or comments, please use the comment section when you're watching on YouTube, or visit the website for more information at www.semgermany.com. SEM Germany specializes in Google AdWords campaigns for the German-speaking market, so if you want to run Google AdWords campaigns in countries such as Germany, Austria or Switzerland and are looking for a native-speaking and certified Google AdWords professional, let's get in touch at semgermany.com.